folks, I'm back. Today I want to talk to you guys about parenting. There's so many aspects and areas to talk about parenting, but in today's video, I want to talk to you guys about shouting. Yes, that's right, people. We're going to look at what shouting does, how and what kind of effects it causes in the relationship between the parent and the child. I'm going to give you a few examples, and I'm going to also talk about some solutions. Well, not solutions, some ideas, suggestions that you can apply in your relationship if you have children, that is. Now, check this out. We all know what shouting does. Sorry, guys, I need to answer the door. That's my son. Son, come over here, quickly. He has a habit of popping in and out of the room as and when he pleases. So, I do apologize for the interruptions that may occur. But at the end of the day, the message needs to be conveyed. Now check this out. Please, by all means, keep tuning in, because some of the things I'm about to say to you may be insightful and may impact and improve the quality of your relationship. Now, keep staring at me. Keep listening. Keep them ears glued to the screen, people. And hear what I have to say. Now, as I was saying, everybody knows what shouting does. Everybody knows that by shouting, you lose a lot of respect. By shouting, you never get heard. Shouting, what happens is when you shout and you continually do it over time, it goes in through one ear and out the other. Now, when that happens, the relationship deteriorates. No one wants to listen. But the funny thing is about listening, you're listening passively, but you're not just taking in. You're not understanding what's going on. When you talk down in terms of lowering your volume, all of a sudden you get heard and also you get understood. Check that out. Just because of the fact that you just changed your tone of voice. You're now respected because you're giving them the respect. When you start shouting, you're actually talking down to someone. You're telling them off. That may be an obvious thing to say, but then check this out, people. When we're doing it, we're totally oblivious about what we're doing and how we come across to that child. Check that out, people. And the funny thing about shouting, when you keep on doing it once, twice, and it becomes a habit, what tends to happen now at that stage, your voice changes and your character deteriorates, because you all of a sudden become reactionary, even at the smallest things that you're shouting. What are you doing? Move! Get off! Leave me alone! You get stressed out more easily because of the fact that you've adopted that habit from day one of shouting. But my son has just passed me a biscuit here. Son, keep the biscuit, eat it. No, just pass it back. Anyway, let's put that biscuit on the shelf. We'll eat it later. So, the thing about shouting, once you start shouting, your tone of voice changes. When your tone of voice changes, when someone hears you speak, they don't like the tone of your voice. Because of the fact it's just changed. It becomes shrieky. It just becomes an irritant. They don't want to hear it. So you have to be mindful of this. As long as you're mindful and you're monitoring the level of your emotions when you're shouting, you need to reduce it as soon as possible. You need to look for a way of calming yourself down whilst you're in that situation. And also look for a way of dealing with that situation better. Look for a way of how to come across more effectively. Because if you're not mindful about this, you can definitely spoil the relationship that you have between your child. One of the biggest problems in today's society is the parent and child relationship is deteriorated because no one wants to listen and no one wants to understand. And that's a two-way relationship. The child is not interested in what the parent has to say, and the parent is not interested in what the child has to say. Because of the fact it all boils down to the tone of voice. Shouting. You need to eliminate that or minimize it as much as possible. You know the funny thing is, people, there's always a time and a place to shout. When someone's far away and they're in danger, you can shout. But when they're near you, when they're literally less than a foot away from you, there's no need to shout. They're not deaf. They can hear you. Talk to them. Don't shout at them. Seek to understand them, and they will understand you. And the funny thing is, through time you will lose your respect because of the fact that you shouted. And especially if you have something valuable to say they will dismiss you because of the fact, sorry, when I refer to they, I'm talking about your children. When you're talking and saying something valuable to them, they're going to dismiss you because of the fact that you shout a lot. And that has now become your habit. And sadly, you're also passing your habits down to your child. Because then subconsciously, whether you realize it or not, or whether your child realizes it or not, as they're growing up, they're going to adopt them habits and also spoil their own relationships when they become a parent. So you have to be mindful about that too. You are a role model. You need to be careful about how you carry and conduct yourself towards your child. Because they absorb everything, as you guys very well know. And I'm talking to you parents out there. So be mindful of that. Because, you know what, it even goes further than just the parent and child relationship. It goes to the point where it affects the spouses. Because when you're reactionary towards your child and you're always shouting, you're going to be doing the same thing to your partner. You ain't going to be able to stand one another. And you're going to destroy the relationship. Because of the stresses. You've not figured out and found out an effective way, a better way of dealing with things. And the funny thing is, change don't happen overnight, as you very well know. If you are shouting all the time, and all of a sudden you talk soft to your child, they're going to see it as something strange. They're going to see it as weird. They're not going to trust you because of the fact it's like, huh? All of a sudden it's just, they're changing. In fact, they'll test you. So be prepared to be tested, because your child needs to know and be reassured, are you for real? Or are you just putting on a front? Is it fakery? What are you up to? What are you after? These are the sort of questions that will go on inside your child's head. Mistrust, distrust with you. You need to do it gradually, incorporate it and implement it and embed it into your character through time. Do it. It has to be done in such a way where it's a natural transition. Not just all of a sudden, I will stop shouting, that's it, I'm going to be nice to my child. It doesn't work like that. They're not going to trust you overnight. Especially if you've built up a habit of shouting for years and years and years. It will take that much amount of time to work at it, to recondition your child's trust. And in fact, if you do that, all of a sudden you become nice overnight, they will test you even more. And they will wind you up even more. Because they're used to you being a certain way. And they're going to try and lock you and confine you in that little space. This is how you are, and this is always how you're going to be. So you have to... Sorry guys, I do apologize for that yet again. So you have to be prepared to get tested over and over again until you have reassured them, hang on a second, I can turn towards my parent without being shouted at. And the thing with shouting is, it destroys and breaks down a person's confidence, because with shouting comes swearing, cursing, cussing, and you're destroying a person mentally and spiritually, and then eventually they deteriorate physically because it manifests somehow. So people, I hope that my rant has been very insightful to you. I hope it can make that much of a difference, that much of a change in your relationship. Maybe it can get you thinking twice before you run up and open up your mouth and start guns blazing at your child. Be very, very careful, people. So, that is my rant for today. Until then, take care, stay strong, stay focused, and always live to learn to empower and inspire the lives of many, as well as yourself. Bye for now.